We're talking essentials clamps, work holding, and proper procedure. The clamps are designed to clamp this direction, not this direction. So that's item number 1. 2, you want this clamp to be relatively level so that it can exert vertical force on your stock. For 1/2 inch material, you're all set, no spacer needed. As soon as you go to 3/4 inch material, you're starting to acquire a lean. For that, go ahead and put a spacer underneath your clamp. Again, we are relatively flat, a little bit of a downward turn. You might want to thin this out just a bit. As soon as you go up to 1.5 inches, now you desperately need a spacer. Even with a 1/2 inch, you're going to go to more of a 3/4 inch spacer, like so. Be sure and have a wide variety of screws on hand, and for proper work holding, level out your clamps. We're down here with the Shapeoko 5 Pro 4x4, and we're talking about keeping collets clean. That's an important part of having success with your machine, making sure the collets and the nuts are clean. Because we have vacuum and dust control flying all around, and you're upcutting, you're downcutting, you have a whole bunch of material moving around, you're gonna get some buildup. How do you know if you have some buildup in your collet? This is it. If when you go to change your bit to open the collet nut, you get some traction after that initial torque release, you get some traction there, you know you have some buildup. Sometimes you can't even open it by hand, you have to put the wrench back in there. So what do? Take your collet and your nut, go ahead and pop the collet out of the nut. Usually use a little hex wrench, and yep, you see some stuff flying around. We've got a little bit of extra material inside the nut and inside the collet itself. A little bit of air, you can blow it out with your mouth, or you can go ahead and just blow it with an air compressor, give it a little spray. You can also, if you need to clean it, if you need to get some of that gunk off in there, you've been jamming it together and you have some buildup, you can use a brush and some alcohol. Go ahead and run the brush through there, then of course spray it with some compressed air. Make sure these parts are nice and clean, pop them back together, and they should spin right off the next time. Worn out end mills. How do you know? Are they worn out or just need a little TLC? On this project here, you'll notice the ragged edge around the inner hub, and also the lack of words coming in on the outer portion of the tire. 2 different problems with 2 different solutions. First of all, always inspect your end mills. This is a 102Z that has a buildup of tape and aluminum on it. This is what the end mills behind me looked like before I put them in Pure Lye, along with some nice warm water. Give your end mills a bath, and you can take an end mill that looks like this back to pristine condition. This single flute had a buildup, and that's why it was cutting that ragged edge. How do you know if it's back to pristine condition? Keep a new one around. Right-hand side, brand new. Left-hand side, chewed through a bunch of aluminum. They look identical now after that bath in the lye. Now, what if your end mill is in fact worn out? Here is a 501 PCB mill. You'll notice a nice fine point on it. Here's the one that didn't produce the words that I wanted. That is an obvious difference in wear on the end mill. So you can still use this for a chamfer, but its days of making exact detailed point work are over. You'll have to replace that one. Sometimes an end mill needs replacement. Sometimes it just needs a bath. This guy's gone. He stays. If you've gotten to the point where you have your stock strapped to your bed and you have not measured it exactly, you've come down to run your program, this is how you use your calipers to measure that depth.